Now you have installed the sector files you downloaded for the Vancouver FIR website, and this will take you through some of the basics of the scope itself. The main parts of the scope are the upper bar or the top bar, where you have different options for you to click on. You'll see that you can click on each one of those, and it will open up dialog boxes for you to work on settings, or for you to move in between scenario files that you have opened. Select the runways, active runways, leader lines, history dots, standby aircraft standing with the squawking standby, display settings, and separation tools. The center section of the scope is the scope itself. If you right click on your mouse and keep it pressed, then you can move it around as required. When you release it, it stops the move. If you want it back to where it was, you do the same. And if your mouse has a scroll bar, you can use it to zoom in or zoom out. These are lists. This is the sector inbound list, the sector exit list, and departure list. Down here is the meters list. On the top right, ATC List. This is the list of all ATC that are logged into the network and that are close by or beside your control position. Voice channel list. This will show you who is in your voice channel with their corresponding call signs. And flight plan list. The flight plan lists. And there are options here that we will go through eventually. All of these are buttons that you can click on. So this is checked, unchecked, unchecked, checked, unchecked, and it works for all of those. So there's a reason and there's a meaning and an option that you can use with all those tiny little buttons. On the bottom part of the scope is where you get the texts, general information from the system, or texts, incoming texts from rather aircraft or other ATC will appear here. And there's a text field, which is the one you use to send text strings to pilots or to type in text commands that are also built into the scope. So going quickly through the upper bar, the menu, I haven't personally changed any of this. Try to leave it the way you're seeing it right here. It should be the way it came down with the files until you become an experienced user where you can start adapting or changing settings. I would suggest for you to just make sure that you have it the same way. The connect button, if you click on it, it opens up the connect dialog box, which is what you use to connect to VATSIM, to the network. Once you're logged in, this field will show your call sign and your rating. Next one is a headset. If you click on that, that's opens up your comms, the dialog box with the comms, and as you can see, all the positions, all the control positions for in the Vancouver FIR have been predefined with their corresponding frequencies and call signs. So that saves a lot of work. Everything is already integrated into the system. And this is where you need to set up your communication hardware as well, which we will do. And you need to do that the first time before using or logging into the network. If you're logged in, this frequency will show the frequency of the position you're manning. In this case, I'm not logged in, so it shows this by default. Next one is a letter. If you click on that, that's the 80s. So here this is letting you know that it's 80s Golf. And if you click on that letter, it will open up the 80s dialog box. This is what you use to set up the 80s and connect it. And it offers you two options. What I call a manual 80s, which is where you record it all yourself with your own voice and type it all yourself as well, or the automated option where it generates itself every time a new meter comes in. Next one, it's open sector, open SCT. This is where you open up sectors. This is where you go to open up new scenario files, depending on the position you're manning. And once you have selected which position you're going to be manning, then it's going to display it here. And we will go through this. UTC time, Zulu time, other settings, and quick settings. Try to make sure that you have it exactly the same way I have it here, and same with this one. Again, I haven't changed any of this. This should be the way it came down with your files. If it is not, just try to have it the same way you have it here. Next one is our runway icon. That's our runway as you are on short final. If you click on it, it will open up the runways, all the runways for the FIR. And this is where you go to select which runways are active, which way you're landing, which way you're departing for each one of the controlled airports in our FIR. Next one is the leader line. This actually these four buttons here kind of work together. This is what you want the target to display, if you want a leader line or not, and for that leader line for it to be displayed in minutes and how many minutes, or if you want it to be in nautical miles and how many nautical miles. If you left click on it, the number increases. If you right click on it, the number decreases. And history dots, so you either want to see history dots or not. Next one is standby. That means that if you click on it, it will show you aircraft with squawking standby. If you unselect it, of course you won't see them. Next one, it's display settings dialog box. If you click on that, it will open the display settings dialog box, and this is, again, it allows you to change some of the things that you are able to change with the buttons there, like it's what type of aircraft you want the scope to display, history dots, and even set different altitudes to which if you would like to set filters. But we will go through this in full detail. But this is where you go to turn on or turn off layers of information as required. This following one here, I haven't used it. I'm not familiar with it, so I won't comment. The next one is a separation tool. That separation tool allows you to measure the distance between 2 points, or two aircraft, or an aircraft and a point. So you just click on it and then click on the first point, click on the second point, and it gives you the distance in nautical miles. If you put the mouse on top of it and right click, it gets rid of the line. And the next one, it's a separation tool with two options. Separation tool if you left click on it, and the flight plan separation tool if you right click on it. And the way this one works is, since it is a separation tool, is that when you select it, you need to select two targets. It won't work. I don't have any aircraft here, so it won't work. It's not giving me anything. If you have two aircraft on the scope, you click on the first one, click on the second one, and then the information will be displayed accordingly. So that's it for this video, where we wanted to show you some of the basics of the Euroscope, for you to see how the top bar gives you access to all the different options, settings, and information, and for you to start becoming familiar with the screen itself. On future videos, we're going to be going into details on some of the options that we just went through in this video. Thank you for watching.